Hello again, everybody. Dave from the Polypad team here, and this is the third video in the series of how to use Polypad to author matching activities. If you missed videos 1 and 2, I'll put the links to those videos in the comments. Check those out and then come back for video 3. In this video, we're going to add some validation to this activity so students will know if they put the words in the right spot. You can set it so students see if they got it correct or not automatically. They can click a button to see if they got it correct or not. Or you can set it so they don't see it, but you'll be able to see it in the teacher dashboard of the activity. So let's get going. As we've talked about, I'm going to use Command-Shift-A to go inside of authoring mode. For authoring, I'm going to turn on pinch and pan so I can pan around the canvas and zoom in and out as needed. And the first thing that I need to do is on each of the drop zones, turn on validation. So I'm going to hold down Shift to select all 4 of the drop zones. And you can see in the tile options section, one of the options is validation. We have compare for numerical value, cover if you're doing like a tangram activity, and match, which is going to check to see if the right tile is in the drop zone. So we're going to do the match validation option. I'll put a link in the comments about compare and cover if you want to learn about the other validation options. But in this video, I'm just going to talk about match. So I've turned on match on all 4 of these drop zones. And you can see I get this little warning message that no solution has been set for this zone yet. So I need to set the solutions. So I'm going to take the pentagon, drag it into this drop zone. And now when I click on the drop zone, one of the options in the action bar is set solution. So I'm going to click this. You can see that that warning goes away. And when I drag this back, I can see this check that is telling me I've set a solution for that drop zone. So this is the octagon. I'll click set solution. Notice when I click on the action bar of this drop zone, I could clear the solution. I could show the solution. I don't need to do either of those. I'll move that over here. Triangle. We'll move the triangle over here and set the solution. And here's the hexagon. And I'll do set solution. Okay, now I want to see if this is working correctly before I share it with students. So the easiest way to do that is I'm going to select all 4 of the drop zones again. And one of the options is this auto check toggle. So I'm going to turn auto check on. And that's going to show me immediately when I drag a tile into the drop zone if it is the correct tile for that drop zone or not. So I'll leave authoring mode. Maybe I'll go to preview so we can see it as a student would see it. And if I drag the triangle here, I see that's wrong. That's wrong. Oh, that's correct. That's wrong. I like to check them all to make sure. Let's check the pentagon. Correct, incorrect, incorrect, incorrect. Let's check the hexagon. Yep. Incorrect, incorrect, incorrect. All looks good. And the octagon. All looks good there. Now, when you get them all correct on Polypad, so if we do the pentagon and the hexagon, confetti comes down the screen. We got them all correct. We get this confetti. Looks really nice. Okay, so that was with auto check turned on. I don't love that for students where they just get that immediate feedback, sort of encourages some guessing and checking without being super thoughtful about which word is going into which place. So the other option, if you want students to see whether they have the correct answer or not, I'll go back into authoring mode and I'm going to turn off auto check. And instead, I'm going to add a button to the screen, to the Polypad. So I'm going to go into authoring and I'm going to add an action button connected to these 4 drop zones. So I click this. You can see when I do that, I get this button on the screen. And I need to choose the action for this button. So I want this button to validate those drop zones to see if it's correct or incorrect. And I could double click and say check, something like that. I'll just go check. All right, so now I've added this button that's going to check to see if the student's work is correct or not. I'll go to preview, check it. You can see they're wrong. If I go here and check it, I get that it's correct. I can put them all into places. I get 3 checks. And then there's the confetti when they're all correct. So that makes students be a little bit more deliberate about when they want to check to see if their work is correct or not. And the final thing that you can do is have the correct or incorrect state appear in the teacher dashboard of an activity inside of Activity Builder. So let me delete this button. And this uses some, in order to get the correct state to appear on the teacher dashboard, you need to add some computation layer into Polypad. So I'll put a link into the comments of the video where you can learn more about computation layer. I'm not going to give a thorough overview here. Rather, I'm just going to show you how you can use computation layer and Polypad to get the correct state to appear on the teacher dashboard. Okay, so on each of these drop zones, I need to add a computation layer source of correct. So I'm going to go to the More Tools menu. Let me close these. And you can see there's a section called CL Exports. I'm going to add a new field, and all the way at the bottom is correct. And I'm going to call this one C1. So the Polypad is going to export if this drop zone is correct or incorrect using the variable name C1 for this first drop zone. So I'm going to do the same thing for all the other drop zones. I'll name this one C2. I will name this one C3. And believe it or not, I will name this one C4. So they all now have a CL source that is being exported with the name C1, C2, C3, and C4. Okay, and now I need to edit the computation layer script for the Polypad component. So in the Polypad component, I'll go to the upper right and click that to edit the computation layer of the screen. And the first thing I'm going to do is define here that correct1 is going to pull the value of C1 from the Polypad component. And I'm going to do that same thing for C2, C3, C4. I'm going to get some warnings here because I'm using correct1 and C1 a few times here. I also forgot my quotes at the end of this, so let me add these quotes back in. And when I change this to 2, 3s, and 4s, all these warnings should go away. So correct2 will make this C2. This will become C3 and correct3. And this will be C4 and correct4. Component undefined does not currently export any values. Let's see what's going on here. Maybe I have to leave authoring mode. Let's see if those components, if that kept the CL source. Yep, so now we could go to the CL script. And those warnings went away. So I was still in authoring mode. I had to leave authoring mode to get the variables to be exported. So now that all looks good. And the final thing I need to say is this whole screen is correct when correct1 is correct and correct2, and correct3, and correct4. So what this is doing is saying that first line is saying correct1 is going to show a value of drop zone 1 being correct when the variable C1 is exporting a correct state. Same for correct2, correct3, and correct4. Those are the individual states of each of the drop zones. And what line 9 is saying is this screen will be marked correct on the teacher dashboard if and only if all 4 of them are also exporting the correct value. So now I can go to Done. I can preview this. And this is going to show me, see dashboard preview, that's going to show me a preview of what's going to appear on the dashboard. So if I do triangle, I get this dot, which means that it's not correct yet. If I do pentagon and hexagon and octagon, I think I need to publish it first, actually. Let's try this. Let's do publish. and then preview. Oh no, now I can open the read-only editor, and now I can preview it, and now you can see that hexagon, octagon, I'm not getting a check. Let's see why we are not getting a check. I know why. I found the mistake. This is supposed to be a colon. There we go. I had an equal sign there. That's supposed to be a colon. It's not because I was in the read-only editor. It should have worked in both places. Now, if I put the triangle here, notice that's an X. So that's saying this whole screen is not correct yet. Even if I put the triangle here, I get an X. Or if I do the pentagon and the hexagon, and now when I do octagon, it should change to a check. And it does. Nice. So that's telling me that I have this check that is correct. And as soon as I move one, I get that X. I thought it had something to do with the read-only editor. It does not. If I go back here and I edit the activity, as long as I'm in preview mode, now I changed the computation layer in the read-only mode, so I need to change it actually here as well. This, I need the colon instead of the equal sign. I'm not defining this variable. That equal sign is defining it. So now when I go to preview and I do the triangle, this is correct, right? That is the right thing, but I'm still getting I'll still see the X in the dashboard because they're not all correct yet, right? Now if I do pentagon, and even if I do these incorrect, that'll be an X, but when I do this, then it'll be all a check. Just to expand on that again, if I said this, if I made these or, which is not what we want to do for students, but I could do or here. Now it'll be marked correct on the dashboard if only one of them is correct. So as soon as I do this, I'll get this check, right? That's just saying only one of them has to be correct. All these other ones could be wrong, but because it was or, as long as one's correct, I'm going to get that check on the dashboard. Not what we want in this activity. I'll make this and now done. Preview. Let me just check this. Triangle, X, pentagon, octagon, hexagon. There we go. There's the check. I will publish it. I'll put the link to this activity in the video so you can go explore it as well. That's how to add validation into matching activities. Hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching this video.